Hey, this is Matthew, and welcome back to Nerd News Today, and it's time for another statue review and unboxing. And today we've got another piece from DC and from Diamond Select. This is part of their DC Gallery Diorama series. This is Wonder Woman. Now, as we talked about in the past few weeks, we've taken a look at the Superman Ascendant and the Batman Defiant pieces. Those were essentially kind of like the signature pieces, if you will, for the line of these characters. And I was curious if there was going to be one of those as well for Wonder Woman. And well, turns out there really isn't going to be another type of Wonder Woman statue. For one, because DC has ended their time with Diamond Select for the time being, and also because, well, basically as I found out, this statue came out first. So in reality, that Batman Defiant and the Superman Ascendant piece are actually counterparts to this. So in my opinion, if you're getting all three of these statues, that would be the DC Trinity. But is this Wonder Woman piece worthy enough to hang out with those two pieces? Well, let's take a closer look. And first things first, let's just talk about this packaging. And it's got really great colors. I really like this packaging. It's got really nice red, yellow, and blue. Of course, the white stars on it as well. So it's all the Wonder Woman colors. It's got the really classic Wonder Woman logo as well. And it's also a pretty nice size too. A lot of times these statues get pretty big and pretty out of hand with the packaging, but in this case, I think it's the perfect size. We have window displays on 3 of the 4 sides of this box here. We got the big one on the front. There's one on the side as well, and another one on the other side. And of course, the Diamond Select sunroof, which is also actually pretty big. The back of the box has a pretty nice bio about Wonder Woman. Nothing you haven't heard before, most likely, if you know about her. But still, it's good to have something there. And it also lets us know that this piece was designed by Caesar and sculpted by Alejandro Pereira. We also get a nice photo of what the statue is going to look like outside of the box, but will she look that good once we take her out? Well, let's not delay this any further. Because after all, we're not here to spend all day looking at this packaging, so let's go ahead and bust our Wonder Woman out of the box and take a closer look at her from all angles. And here is our Wonder Woman statue out of the box. Really dynamic pose. You know, that's the first thing I look at, and that it's really hard not to look at it, is this pose. This is so dynamic. This is really kind of nuts, like how powerful it looks, how energetic it looks. There's so much going on here. I want to talk about likeness first, but really just looking at this pose right now, I just immediately get stuck on that because it's really good. It's a very strong, action-packed pose. But yeah, let's talk about that face here. And I think it's also pretty good. I tend to like Diamond's comic book statues more than the ones based on like movies, just partly because the paint jobs tend to be a little weird too. But I think, they really excel when they do their own idealized versions of the characters. And case in point, I think this Wonder Woman is really an excellent piece here. I think they've got a great look on her face. And it reads as what I think is Wonder Woman when I see this piece here. So I like that. I also dig the hair too. Of course, I'm always a fan of hair on these pieces. It's a weird thing to say, but I really like it when the sculptors put a lot of extra effort into the hair. I think this is a really good one here. Again, it also kind of goes with the whole pose, which is probably another reason why I'm digging it so much, because there's so much just like uniformity throughout the piece here. And I also, of course, appreciate that golden tiara with the red star in the center. That looks really nice too. It's a good head. I don't really have any complaints about it. But yeah, we can now just go right into this pose here, because man, oh man, is this a good pose. I should probably say woman, oh woman, but I don't know what's better. Let's just say, wow, it's a really good pose. It makes sense that this was designed by Caesar, because Caesar's really great at stuff like this. Like, his sense of energy is always really great. I love all the work that he does. And I think being paired with Alejandro Pereira also, it's a really good combination of these guys. They're really telling an excellent story here. And wow, just so much going on. I love the weight that's on this leg, because you can really sense the weight here. Same thing with this back leg too. She's kind of like pushing off of it. The arms are kind of, there's a lot of contrapposto is the word you go. If you go to art school, you'll learn that word. It's a fancy way of saying exactly what this statue shows. It's kind of like a contrast of direction, of energy, of physical energy. That's a real pretentious way to define it. But yeah, you guys see what I mean here. It's just so much going on. And it all works together really well. It makes for a very dynamic pose and a very dynamic piece of art. And I think that was a really smart choice too, maybe internally, because, again, we're talking about classic here. And Wonder Woman is meant to be a Greek god after all, right? Or have that kind of Greek-inspired type of art, and especially you get that sense with these columns here in the ground. So, it would make sense that they would go back to their Renaissance paintings and Renaissance statues and kind of look for that similar pose. And, I could easily see like this right here. Like this to me, I feel like I've seen that in some piece of like Renaissance painting or something. So whether that was actually intentional or not in terms of a reference for them, I think it's still a really cool thing to note. And yeah, you guys can tell I'm really into this pose here. I also like that she has her sword over here. The sword is really cool. It's got some nice details on the hilt as well. But what I especially like is the lasso. So we looked at a few other diamond pieces with lassos before. What comes to mind is the Batman Returns Catwoman and the Castlevania Trevor Belmont piece. And those two had kind of like big, much larger whips, I feel like. Catwoman had the whip, and Trevor has the whip. They were kind of thicker, kind of larger, and I know there were some QC problems with some people getting those statues and getting their stuff broken off. I think in this case here, if you're worried about it, yes, it is a thinner type of plastic, much thinner than the other two pieces I just mentioned. But you can see here it's wobbling a lot. I think it's a little bit more flexible. So, you know, while it's still fragile, if you drop it, it's going to probably break on you. But I think it's actually going to be a little bit safer than those other statues because of the material that they're using here. I don't quite know what it is. It definitely feels different, and it feels, you know, I don't want to say the word durable because I don't think durable is the right word, but I think it's going to be more malleable and maybe more so just going to survive better in packaging just because of how it is. It's definitely far less brittle than the other pieces, so I think that's a good thing about it. And yeah, it's really nice. And again, it kind of works great with the pose here too, because look at that, it's kind of going the same direction as this leg here, you know, which bounces off the sword. There's just so much here kind of directing your eye and telling you where to go and giving you a lot to look at, which is really great. Now let's talk about the outfit too, which, you know, you're not really able to see a ton of because again, it's all about this pose, and most of that pose is actually really her bare body. But you know, outfit is very nice. Paint is really, really excellent on it too. I love all the stars here that are on her tights. You can see them right there. But again, you know, when you look at any of these poses, even if I start talking about the outfit, I go right back to the anatomy and the pose because, you know, again, you guys can see it from this angle here. This looks really good even. Like, that's the sign of a really great statue when you can look at it from any angle and it works. And I mean, yeah, I could totally get like a dark side statue, put it right in front of her, and that's a great story I've just told my pieces. So yeah, really, really great job here. You know, if you want to have like fancy outfits, this is definitely not one. This is very much kind of like an almost George Perez Wonder Woman in a lot of ways. You know, there's no armor, it's not a New 52 Wonder Woman, it's just the classic comic book look, and that works really well here. And again, I already kind of briefly talked about the base, but I really love the base here too. Just great detail. I love the texture on it too. It really kind of adds a lot to it because for the most part, this Wonder Woman is very smooth. There's not really any texture on her other than her hair. It's really a very smooth piece. So all the texture comes down here, and I think it works really well. It's just a really great kind of contrast. The piece is pretty simple in a lot of ways though, so I don't really have a ton more to say about it other than that I really dig this piece. And I actually want to bring in two other pieces that we looked at recently, and that will be over here. Let's see if I can fit them on. I've got the Superman Ascendant and the Batman Defiant pieces. So why am I showing you these three pieces together? Well, because these make up, of course, the DC Trinity. It's Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman. But in particular, these three pieces all kind of came out not really at the same time period, actually. I think actually the order of them was actually Wonder Woman, Batman, and then Superman is the most recent. And they're kind of spaced out a little far apart, but not that far apart. So for me, you know, I'm not exactly a big DC fan, big DC merchandise collector, but I like these three characters. And for me now, I've got all three. So I've got the Trinity in statue form. And if you look at them all together, I think they work really well together. Now, no, they don't fit in well together, meaning that, you know, they all have uniform bases that will attach and it's going to be one singular story. But in terms of like who they are, what they do, what they're about, and really I think the term iconic or signature comes to mind when I talk about these three pieces do it for me. If I didn't buy another Superman, Batman, or Wonder Woman again and just had these three pieces, I'd be set. I think this does the job. It tells the story. It's the Trinity, and I think they look really great together. If you had them lined up on a shelf especially, you know, it probably looked better. Actually, I had these characters reversed, in fact, and they're kind of all looking off almost like a band album. You know, they got Wonder Woman looking that way, Batman's over here, Superman's kind of looking off to the side a little bit. You know, I think they actually work together very well. Granted, it's going to look a lot better if you have them on a flat surface, not in this little round thing I have over here, which kind of makes it hard to put them all. But yeah, I think, you know, they are going to look really great as a trio. But final thoughts on this Wonder Woman itself, I think it's a real great statue, a real knockout piece here. You know, surprisingly, I think one of my favorite statues actually from Diamond. I didn't think I was going to say that because I'm not like a giant Wonder Woman fan either, but I really am a fan of good art. And I think this is one of those pieces that to me definitely kind of rides a thin line between art and collectible. And I can honestly imagine this piece being like a resin statue and having a lot more detail, having a much crisper paint job, and it would look amazing. Like, this would easily transition to that. So for me, this is kind of like I'm getting a really great masterpiece edition, but shrunk down and made into a more affordable version of a collectible that really anybody can get, and I definitely recommend this piece here. Just so much great stuff going on. I think it's a perfect Wonder Woman from top to bottom. I think you're going to like it a lot. So if you want to pick up this statue for yourself, go ahead and check out our Amazon affiliate links in the description below. It helps out us at no extra cost to you. Or check it out on Diamond Select's website, or visit your local comic book store to see if they have it. So until next time, I'm Matthew. That's our look at Diamond Select's Wonder Woman statue, designed by Caesar and sculpted by Alejandro Pereira. Real beautiful piece here. So until next time, I'm Matthew. We'll see you guys here again on Nerd News Today for another statue review and everything else we do here on the channel.